Hello and welcome to Chapter 3, Getting Started with UCINet in our textbook Disrupting Dark Networks. So basically this lecture is going to be an introduction to the new program that you're going to be using, or programs, called UCINet and NetDraw. I'm going to be going back and forth between slides and the actual program because I want to show you visually how to use or how to do each step that we're going to go over. All right, so the first thing we're going to look at is the UCINet main screen. And this is what it looks like statically. To get to it, on your computers, you need to go to the Start menu, and it should be under, it's going to be very different from this because this is my home program, but it should be under All Programs, and it's going to be under what's called Analytic Technologies. It should be in the folder, so it looks like this. You can also, on your own computers at home, put a shortcut on the menu bar, which is what I do. So here is our UCINet shortcut. I'm going to click on that, and that's going to open the actual program. As you can see, it looks very similar here. I might have also, if you see the version here, I'm going to have a different version than you do. I think in your computers, they're the most updated version. I have yet to update mine. But this UCINet updates itself more than I change underwear, which is to say a lot of enchilada. All right, but anyway, this is our main screen for UCINet. Okay, we're going to go back here. And the next thing, and one of the most important parts of UCINet, and believe me, I know most of you never look at any kind of help files, but here it might be very helpful for you to do so. So here we have some static pictures of the help files. I'll show you how to get there. We bring back up our UCINet, and literally, like almost any Windows-based program, you go to the help. You can go to help topics, or literally just click the hotkey, which is F1. And you can type in anything you want. So later on, say when we're getting into centrality and you have a problem understanding centrality, you can literally just type centrality, start to anyway, and a lot of the different metrics that are with centrality are located here. So say you kind of don't understand degree centrality. So you can click on degree, and it says right here, centrality, degree, display. And it will literally tell you, you can always bring them to make them bigger, slide that out. So here's network centrality degree. It gives you the purpose. It gives you the description, different parameters of how it's used. The log file timing, you won't need to really pay attention to, but again, also feel free to read that because it could be helpful for you. Just comments, and then of course references to the people or sources where they got this information. So that's your help file, and I highly recommend using it, not just on UCINet, but any program that you end up using in your classes or just in general. All right, so next up, we're going to change, I'm going to show you guys how to change our default folder. This will be extremely helpful for you guys working in the lab, or actually for you guys now working at home. You will want to do this. You'll want to have your change default folder because otherwise you'll be going back and forth. And sometimes I wonder myself how much time I've wasted in my life trying to find data in all of the different folders I have. So here's a static version of it. I have it circled here. This is literally where you go to change the folder. Let's bring up UCINet. It's right down here. If you click on this folder, now it brings you to the select folder box, and you can literally go anywhere in your computer. So you can go to your desktop. I recommend putting all your stuff on your desktop, but you do whatever is easiest for you. Some people want it on a USB, but in that case, you're always going to have that same USB plugged in. I do the desktop, and then I just dragged all of my network data into a folder called network data. So you highlight it, make sure it's highlighted like this, and if you look down here, it says folder, network data, and then you click select folder. And now if you look down here, my folder for my data, whenever I go to open data, is here in my folder users. This is my CSUOB ID. It's on my desktop and it's in my folder network data. And that's how that works. Okay, and now let's look at UCINet data display. This is how to actually pull up the text log of your data, or a text visual of what your data matrix looks like. And remember, we talked about data matrices in our lecture last week. So to do this, it's very simple to bring up this. This is the text log, and if you look right here, it says UCINet log 2. It comes up in the Windows program Notepad. And this is an actual data matrix here of Omar Hamami. This is research I did on a homegrown terrorist. So this is a terrorist network, or an ego network of one terrorist, homegrown terrorist named Omar Hamami. And this is one particular part of his network when he was in, as you see, I have it written here, Alexandria, Egypt. So let's pull this up in UCINet. It's very easy to do. Here's our main window. Make it a little bit bigger so it undoes that. All you need to do is go to the D button, and this is data display. You click on data display. Automatically comes up in my folder that I set it to. And in my case, I want to go to some different folders that I have, Alexandria, and here is that network right here. It comes up in a log file. It tells you, if you look at here, here's your input data set, and you'll name your data sets whatever, just like you name Word documents or Excel documents, you name them regarding what it is you're working on. In this case, here's my file, Alexandria, Egypt. So I know this is the Alexandria, Egypt network. That's the title of the network. These are all the people in the network. This is an undirected square one mode network. As you know, everybody that's listed in the rows is also listed here. It's a 12 by 12 network. You can tell by looking right here, 12 rows, 12 columns, one level. And then here's our matrix data. So remember from lecture in chapter 2, this is the data information on relationships, and so we look across, and because it's an ego network, which we'll talk about later, but real quick, an ego network, the main person will always have ties to everybody else, because that is the point of an ego network. You're looking at one main person and all of their ties. So here we have, these are just the F12, F13, FR, these are just ways of me coding the different people that he's friends with, because it's really, it gets kind of tedious if you use full names and all that stuff. So I just make smaller names and code. I have a code book in which I know if I go look at F12, I can find out who that actual person is. So these were family members. FR is friends. M was imams, people that, religious folks that he met along the way. So this is just the data log version of our data set.